People often argue about free markets, like, are free markets ethical? Should, to what extent should the government interfere in the free market? And there's a constant debate about that. I read an article by an Indian lady. Two takeaways from this article. The first takeaway was she was trying to debunk the point that sometimes you hear a lot of conservatives talk about how the free market rewards virtue. It rewards you if you are hardworking, if you come up with a great idea. It rewards you if you're a good person. All these sorts of ideas. She basically said, these are the kinds of arguments that conservatives have been using to defend the free market for a long time. And she basically pointed out that, it's just not true. That everyone knows that certainly there may be components of that, but there's also a huge component of luck as well. You happen to be in the right place at the right time. You happen to come up with the right idea. There's definitely a mix of luck and and ability in terms of what the free market rewards. So that's the first point. Second point is basically has to do with what is a better mechanism to decide what producers develop, essentially, in an economy. So the example she uses is this painter versus genius. So imagine you have this guy, he's not very intelligent, he's pretty run-of-the-mill guy, he's been painting his whole life, and he stumbled over a paint can, spilled the paint all over the place, and he comes up with an idea. He says, I should come up with a lid that if I can seal this paint can, and other painters will buy my lid, and I can make a lot of money off it. So he goes, he patents this lid, and it turns out to be a great idea, and he makes billions, and he retires in the Bahamas and all this good stuff. So you contrast his story with the researcher in academia who's an absolute genius, understands pure math inside out, comes up with all these new theorems and all these great discoveries. He's an absolute genius, and he's not nearly as successful as the bozo who knocked over the paint, or some other folks who, the Paris Hiltons of the world, and these sorts of high quality individuals. That's partly an argument for the first point, which obviously shows that intelligence, ability, and hard work aren't always the one that reward. The market doesn't reward, but it also begs the question: is that right? Is it right that Paris Hilton, that the painter in this situation, are so rewarded for the fact that they're obviously not virtuous people, or relative to this other person? Is that the right way? Is that fair? A lot of people would say, no, it's not fair. The market, we should reward individuals. And she makes a very good case that it is fair. And in her argument, what the painter provided, and it's harder to make this case with Paris, but I think it does exist. But what the painter provided wasn't intrinsic benefit to himself. He wasn't himself being a great person. But what he did was he helped people more. He gave people more what they wanted than what the high mathematician did. People wanted lids for their paint can. That was important to them, and they paid money to get it. Steve Jobs, people want iPhone, they want to communicate, they want all these things. So Apple makes a ton of money. And what the free market fundamentally does, instead of working from the top and rewarding people top down, it rewards people bottom up. It's based on the decision making of all the millions and millions of people out there, and the choices that they make to drive who gets rewarded and who doesn't get rewarded. And in this cycle that you see on the left-hand side, the consumers, I'll make the incredibly hard case for Paris Hilton here. It's almost impossible. I can make a case for her, I can make a case for anybody. But the bottom line is, I'm not even sure who she appeals to. Is it American youth or something like this? Or I don't know anything about why she's appealing, but whoever she appeals to, there's a lot of consumers over there that like whatever she does. And they're signaling to people that we're going to reward this kind of behavior, and then producers react, you get more Paris Hilton types. And then that reaction continues. We get less sophisticated people because the masses don't want that. So don't blame the producers, blame the consumers at the end of the day for Paris Hilton's success. Blame the people who buy whatever the heck she sells.